connect. Okay, here we go. Hey, it is Chala Dinkoy. I am right after a workout. I am not too sweaty, but a little bit sore, and I'm having my Tuesday protein time with Chala. Welcome to another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. I am the CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, and I am here today to talk about sales prospects that never close, because 79% of leads never close. So let me just take a sip of my protein. And then I'll tell you all about why that's happening. So one of the reasons is because 68% of companies have no idea what their funnel is, or they don't track it. So what is a funnel? Well, a funnel is when you have a business and you're trying to get a prospect to notice you, somebody who may need your services. They go through a number of steps to get to you, and so the number of steps is really called the funnel. And the steps are usually, they go something like awareness. They have to become aware of you so that they can actually know that you're alive. Then it's around giving them something of value around their pain. That's the second part of the funnel. And then the third part of the funnel is actually trying to sell to them around their pain. So trying to sell them a solution. So that's called a funnel, and most businesses that are smaller and less sophisticated and don't even have automation around this are not even aware of their funnels. All they tell me is it's word of mouth. It's word of mouth. And if they don't have word of mouth sales, then they have to develop their own funnels, and they have to develop their outreach. And that's what I help them with. So 65% of companies have no lead nurture process. So this is a really huge issue too. So how do you nurture a lead? So let's say somebody has the awareness and they're interested. Then you can put them, what I do is I put them on my newsletter list, so then they're getting me in their inbox every week. The other things that I do is I invite them to be on my podcasts, or I try to guest on their podcasts. I do regular communication, so we either DM them, we intercept them on social media, we like, share, and comment on their content in social media or in content that they also comment on. And we, the in-person thing is gone away right now because of COVID. And I understand that more and more is happening. I mean, last week's topic was around, are you going to go virtual or in person now that things are opening up? Well, they're not opening up in Canada. I mean, we just heard yesterday that schools are not going back in Ontario. So my little guy's really bummed out. So let me take another sip because I'm pretty thirsty today. Okay. So why else are leads never closing? You're spending so much time and money getting the leads, but why aren't they closing? One of the reasons, like the third reason, is wrong targeting. And by wrong targeting, it's such a huge work to be done around finding what people call their avatar, which is who your ideal target market is. And that's like the biggest part of the work that we do in finding somebody's super niche, which is, who needs you the most. So if you're talking to people, first of all, if you're talking to everyone, that's going to slow you down, because there's a very specific group of people who need you the most. But by talking to everyone and by not doing the homework and the research to figure out who those people are that need you the most urgently and will pay you the most, you have no way of knowing who that group is. So, and then when you don't know who to talk to, you're not even talking to them, you're not even talking to people about their most expensive problem, and that's the next issue why leads are not converting. So the first problem was, or the first reason why a staggering 79% of sales leads never close, is because 68% of companies have no idea of their funnel. And then the next one was that most companies, 65%, have no lead nurture process. And then the third one is the wrong targeting. They're just talking to the wrong people. These people don't have the pain that you can solve, or they don't have, or you're talking to everyone. So you're not even targeting. And then the fourth one is the wrong messaging. So you're either not speaking to the right people, And so the people that you're speaking to, you're not talking to them about their pain and how you can help solve their pain. You're not speaking in their language. They don't understand what you're saying. You're speaking in your language. And this used to happen. It used to come up quite a bit with coaches, because coaches always used to talk about getting stuck, getting in patterns. And then when you go and talk to corporations, they're not talking about getting stuck. They're talking about profitability. They're talking about conflict. They're talking about succession planning. So you have to talk the language of the target and of specifically the industry that you're targeting or the interest group. And then the wrong messaging also, it's because it's too generic, and it could also be because the messaging isn't differentiated. So you're saying the same thing as everybody else, and I've done so much training and work around differentiation, because if you're saying things like, we have the best service, everybody says that. If you're saying things like we've been around for a long time, everybody's saying that. If you're saying things like we have great quality, everybody's saying that. So what are you saying that others in your industry are not saying? These are the differentiated messages, and that's what I help teach people. And then of course the wrong messaging is always not, if it's not pain-based, because 70% of humans purchase based on pain, and if you're not talking about their pain, you can't really help them. Because they can't hear you. It's not that you can't help them. It's that they can't hear you, because they're always searching for the danger. They're always looking for what can hurt me in their environment. So reason number 5 why I think leads never convert, most leads never convert, is because you're not really qualifying them. And when you look at any kind of literature that's been done in terms of research, and when you talk to gurus about why this whole conversion thing is happening, it's because there is a huge disconnect between a sales qualified lead and a marketing qualified lead. So whatever the marketing is attracting is not translating into sales, because either they're not on the same page about their avatar, they're not on the same page about the needs, they're not on the same page about their positioning, which is why when I work with companies, we work with both the sales and the marketing. We need the soldiers, the feet on the streets to be there when we're coming up with these strategies. And we also need, actual live feedback from the market, because the market never lies. And then of course, marketing is the brain that puts it all together, and that's who I help, and we work together in conjunction. But in most of the companies that I worked at, and I worked at some really, really big companies, there was such a huge disparity between the sales and marketing, and they all each did their own thing. They all each had their own calendars and agendas, and it was all like set and settled. And there was, twice a year you would present to each other. Mostly the marketing would present to sales, and they would mostly present new products and some programming. But there was really it was really disconnected. And in smaller companies, you would think that that's not true, but that's what all the research is saying. So hopefully you're going to look at, when you're listening to this, you're going to go and talk to whoever's doing your sales and marketing and get them on side. And then especially about the qualifying part. Okay, so how do you qualify people is, they have to have the pain, they have to have the money, the authority, and the urgency to be able to buy, right? They have to have the need, they have to have the ability to buy. And the way that we qualify our prospects is we have forms that they have to apply to talk to us. We qualify them through calls, and then we also qualify them through direct messages on LinkedIn, where we have specific questions that we ask, within the conversation to determine whether there's a need, there's a budget, and there's authority. So the last piece of, not converting is the follow-up piece. And in fact, it's really funny, because a client and I today were just talking about that, because this is an area that just about everybody, including me, can do better in. Because as Mara Kashi always used to say, there's a fortune in follow-up. And she was one of my mentors, still is, from Grow Your Biz. And what she always says is there's a fortune in follow-up. So if there's no follow-up, there's no new business. So when you're doing follow-up, what we're doing follow-up with is the no's, right? And that's not always easy. So I used to always have a coach who said, when it's a recent no, there's a lot of heavy energy behind it. So let a couple of weeks go by. But definitely, I mean, with the client that we talked to today, we talked about reaching back to 3 years, and they're going to be doing that. And so the plan that we made for them is to contact one per week, one no over the past 3 years per week. And some of the other ways that you can do follow-up is, again, put them on your marketing train. So put them into, put them on your newsletter list, put them on your podcast guest list. What else? You can comment, like, share their content or what they share. So the things that you should consider in follow-up is, how frequently do you want to do it? What is the cadence of how you're going to do it? Are you going to go heavy during events and then you're going to let some time lapse and then you're going to go again with another offer? And then, of course, the message. And the message for follow-up is always around them and their pain and their problem and giving them value. So it's never about, hey, did you reconsider wanting to meet with me again? Or did you want to reconsider working with me again? It's never about you. It's always about them. Remember, that's what marketing is once you figure out, and sales, once you figure out that everything is about them and everything's about a solution to what they're struggling with, then you're going to reverse that 79% of leads who never close, and you'll be able to close. So I want to give you another a resource. And what I'm doing is I'm doing the Lead Gen Masterclass, Leveraging Your Elevator Pitch, live presentation. It's a 90-minute presentation live. It's going to live stream on, we're going to do it in Zoom, and then we're going to share it everywhere. So that's going to happen on May the 13th at noon Eastern. What you're going to learn there is all the things that I talked about. Is how do you find your target? How do you find your avatar? How do you find your niche? How do you determine your specialty? Then how do you put it all together into a message? And then how do you come up with that representation, the one-liner, which is your elevator pitch, so that you can use that as a hook, whether online or offline, to get people into sales meetings with you, so that you can convert them into first a lead and then a sale. And that's happening on May 13th. I'm very excited about it. We have started marketing for it. We have started selling for it, and it's free, but you get to sign up at repositioner.com/leadgen is the link. And so go ahead and sign up, and I can't wait to see you there. And until then, stay hydrated, have your tea. Take care, everyone.